Welcome back to an episode of ForgeCraft. Oh, dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Where's the nighttime when you need it? Let's see if I can find a viable target for a new creation. There's a zombie over there somewhere. I think... There he is. So watch the background. Can I find him again? Whoop, there he goes. Did you see him pop up? I'm going to see if I can... Basically, there he goes. And I just killed him with fall damage. Oh. I've been having all sorts of fun with Psy, the new mod by Vaygrim. I've been having absurd amounts of fun. And basically, I made a spell that I call Bounce, and I'll show you how it works. Bounce is actually pretty simple. Well, simple, I say. It took me consulting the mod author to figure out how this stuff works, but still, Vaygrim was nice enough to answer my question. Focal point, okay? There's several different ways these spells work. Like, let me see if I can. Oh, Jitty's on. Ooh, I actually have a lot of focal point spells. Okay. So this is a digger spell. Let's get a spare one of those. It's pretty simple. I'm going to load it into my gun. Let's put it right there. Whoops. I hate that it puts it on the end. Whatever. Summer sucks. There we go, digger. So it is basically, that's it right there. It's a digger spell. It does not use a lot of energy, so I could probably rapid fire it. I'm still figuring out how to do like 3x3 tunnel digging or have it to dig 6 blocks in a straight line. You can do that, but basically it is getting me, the caster. It's checking what direction I'm looking and what my actual position is. And it's combining those into what's called a vector raycast. That is a line going straight out from my head towards whatever target I'm looking at. And it uses that to determine what block I'm looking at. And the first thing that is within 32 blocks, that's the limit of this, gets broken. That's it. It's really simple. And that is basically one of the selectors, basically. So this bounce works differently. The selector it's using instead of caster is focal point. What's my focal point? What point, what direction, way off in the distance, is under my crosshairs? It gets the position for that, basically, where that is in the world. And it uses that in several ways. First thing it does is it passes it to something called the selector nearby enemies. This grabs all of the nearby enemies within 12 blocks around that point. Then it passes that that generates a list. It says, if you notice here, it says output list. And then input, it requires position. That's what this is right here. And then also as input, radius. That's what this is, 12 blocks radius around this point. It's generating a list of all enemies, quote unquote, as determined by me. And it passes that over to an ability called mass exodus. It moves all entities to on the target entity list. So it gets all the bad guys that's generated on this list, and it moves them to whatever set of coordinates I give it. And it has a set speed. This is the maximum speed I can put. If I go higher than 5, it maxes out my potency, and it goes over the limitations of my ability, of my tools. But now here's what I'm doing. This is where it got complicated. I got the position that I was looking at, right? I got the Z and the X coordinates. And then I pulled those out separately and passed them to vector construct. But then I gave it a y coordinate of 250 straight up in the air. So it's getting the same point that the projectile is hitting at, the same point I'm looking at, but it creates a new line straight up in the air, and it gets everybody and it flings them straight up by a speed of 5. Now, what that ends up being is actually some pretty serious speed. Let me see if I can find this creeper. Mr. Creeper. Let's go. Oh gosh. Venturing out. There he is. Oh, that's the wrong spell. That's digger. Let's do bounce. Whee! Crunch. Whee! Crunch. Whee! He's hitting a limit there before he's dropping back down. Usually, if I get maximum height, they'll fly up about 12 to 15 blocks. It only takes about 2 shots to kill them. It's dumb. It's not exactly useful, but hey, whatever. Now, I do also have some other tricks up my sleeve. Let me go over here and then, whoop. Ow. Let's go down into the mines real quick. You nummy carrots, I still have not made a lot of progress in terms of sustenance. I'm still living off carrots and bread and some cookies. So I have a lightning spell. It shoots a lightning bolt from the sky at whatever target. Trouble is, it's basically a forest fire waiting to happen. I killed myself once, literally rushing to the other side of the lake to accidentally put out a fire. I accidentally started by striking a zombie with a lightning bolt. So yeah, that was interesting. Oh, thump. So what I can do now, explode. And you can see the projectile as it flies. This is not good for mining. This is only good for, well, mass destruction, but I'm just gonna make a tunnel that way. This is basically a TNT gun. And this bullet will keep going. It does not really have a limit. I think, of course, render range or chunk loaded range is the limit, but let's give that a second to recover. So yeah, now there's a lot of things I could do with bounce. I could have bounce fling up all the items in the air, or I could have it get all the items and pull it back to the caster, to me. That might be useful. I could actually have a gun that gets everything and flings it back towards me. Debatably useful, but maybe. And it's very interesting to see what kind of stuff you can actually do. Oh gosh. Nope. Let's. Ow. Hit myself on the ceiling there. That happens a lot more than you would think. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with Psy. Now, I'm gonna let you know, I have died a lot. A whole lot. Those are only about half my gravestones. Yeah. So I actually have, this is the explode spell I'm working on. Really simple. I've been trying to make a slightly more refined version of it, but this is what I keep coming back to. Basically, I have a TNT bullet. I might end it there. This is the work of art. That is the 9x9 spell. Basically, it makes a 9x9 house wherever you shoot it. It's amazing. It doesn't put doors in. You have to put the doors yourself. But it's basically a square 9x9. That's it. And it works. Vazky made this wonderful thing for Direwolf 20. It all starts here. Select your focal point. Where are you looking? That's where it's going to start building it. And this is what's called a loop cast index. It's basically going through the loop a certain number of times. And it has this loop that it does a certain number of times. I think I don't know, it's 2 different halves. Or if it's stacking the layers up, I'm still figuring that part out, but yeah. It's very interesting. I haven't seen it in use yet, but now there is another one. I can't actually use this spell. This was made by Vazky, and it's called the Predictile. I asked Vazky to make a spell for me that builds something. So Vazky made a spell that shot stone penises. Do what you will with that. I think we were all slightly silly, and either myself or Rorax might have made the joke suggestion, and Vazky ran with it. So I do have that, but I can't use it. It's over the actual capabilities of my weapon, so I'm still upgrading. But I have been making a lot of progress. I'm on loop casting, number 12. That's basically making an index where it's going through a loop a certain number of times. Now, this is starting to get into the really advanced mathematical side of things. Modulus, is a phrase I've never even heard of before, I don't think. Integer divide, I remember doing that way back in high school, college, but this stuff is really on the outer periphery past. Yeah, loopcast is a type of loopcast spell bullets. When cast from it executes as if it's cast from a normal one, but there is a player, but puts a player into the loop casting state. Anyway, you can make loops happen a certain number of times with this. It's kind of dangerous. I got a movement spell and put it on a loop casting spell bullet. That is, there's normal spell bullets. There's a projectile spell bullet. That's what I use for bounce, and that's what I use for the explosion thing, exploding bullet. Loop cast, it fires until you switch guns. If you just put a spell on that, it will fire until you switch off of the actual casting device. Now, option number 2 is if you do it right, you can actually put a loop. Let me find it. There we go. Loop cast indexer selects the amount of loop cast executions done, and that basically determines, yeah, how many loops it goes through. You could have it go through 2 loops or 5 loops. So you could have a spell that dug a 3x3 grid 3 times, 1, 2, 3 in a line. I'm still figuring that part out. I have seen a 3x3 mining spell, but this is what I've been working on for the last several days. We do have, there's a new mod called Intangible. Intangible is a new mod by Eminif, the maker of Witchery. And this mod has to do with souls and extracting souls from, livestock or, mobs or whatever. There are benign souls and, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the different types. There's even different, malleable. There's unhinged souls, doomed souls, predatory, immutables, nobles, wise, couple of other different kinds. There's benign right there. So basically there are different kinds of souls that you can discover, and you can either infuse objects with these souls, like the stone, or you can infuse yourself with these souls and turn it into a kind of a spell casting system where you have sets of spells that you can cast based upon how many of what combination of spells you have. There might be some spells that only open up when you have benign souls. There might be others that only open up when you have unhinged souls, etc., etc. So it's a very complex system, but it's not complex. It's kind of hard to explain. If you haven't, head over to youtube.com/direwolf20. He's actually got a multi-part guide that he's doing on Intangible. I'm going to try and get into it, but I need to get some supplies up. I've actually had a bit of a hard time. Normally we have a much higher ore gen ratio than we do right now. There's not a lot of stuff adding ore. We haven't tweaked the ore a lot because the ore rates a lot because of, excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of water here. Because stuff like, I think, COFH and other things that we normally tweak ore amounts with don't exist yet. And I will clarify, ForgeCraft normally does not put as much ore in the world as I'm used to. So that throws me off, plus this being 1.8.9 and a lot of stuff is still in testing. I am trying to make some progress, but like, for example, up until I think just the last update, we've had some instabilities with Thaumcraft. So I haven't really progressed it all. Plus, there's a lot of stuff that has changed in here in regards to the mini games and some of the actual aspects that are different from 4 point whatever to 5.0. Basically, they're different from the 1.7.10 version of Thaumcraft as they are to the 1.8.9 version of Thaumcraft. So I'm still figuring things out. I have been having a blast with Psy, and I plan to get into Intangible next episode. I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. We do actually have a recent kind of a special guest on the ForgeCraft servers now. This person has actually said it themselves publicly, so it's not a secret anymore. But actor David Hewlett has actually been hanging out with his 2 kids on the ForgeCraft servers. Apparently, they were fans of Direwolf 20 and the ForgeCrafters and modded Minecraft in general. So they've been hanging out and having fun. And David Hewlett actually just recently talked about it in one of his vlogs on youtube.com/dhewlett. I'm not going to give out whose player name and stuff like that. They might not still want to be bugged. So I'm not going to give that out. If he says it, that's fine, but I'm not going to spread that information. But he is sneaking around on the server, and it's generally been very, very nice to meet the guy. He has no clue who I am. I'm a nobody in the grand scheme of things, but it's really cool to meet him. I watched him on oh, what do we have? No? Woo! Fly, be free. Oh, it's fun. It's so much fun. Let's go over here and see if we can spot anybody. There's a creeper. Flies. He's banging his head. I hear more victims, more targets. Come here. I want to bounce you. Oh, there's one. Nope. Where are you going, buddy? Come on. Whee! There we go. So yeah, I've been having all sorts of fun with Psy, some of the stuff you can do with it. In general, just, having a blast. I am actually going to go back to mining. I'll catch you guys later, another episode later in the week of ForgeCraft One, and I will see you later. Bye-bye. Wait a minute. Can I get... There are people down here, I swear. Where are they? I'm thinking... Nope. I'm trying to get one last one before we actually sign off. Let me see if I can find one real quick. Oh, I heard that. There's somewhere under my treehouse. There you are. Whee! Whee! Anyway, I'll talk to you folks later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.